Hi, everyone.
Some music to get started.
Yes, exactly. We have a special live today.
We have a special guest, our phone. I hope the connection is going to be
Yeah.
decent and sufficient for this. Decent and sufficient.
Decent and sufficient. Can you say that in English? Decent and sufficient.
Yeah, like enough power, enough connection.
To power the goals.
Yeah, to power up 2024. Are you excited, Lada, about 2024?
I am very excited. And the topic today is near and dear to our hearts and hopefully to yours as well. I think
and that's why we're here together.
Exactly.
We decided
Teaming up.
to be more impactful with this topic and be in person. I mean, in person for each other, but like on the same picture for you guys. Right. So goals, setting goals, Vlada.
Absolutely. So today's topic is about setting goals. We'll talk about our best practices, our hacks, our methodologies. I think every year I start from trying to improve on that methodology and, of course, reflecting on what worked and what didn't. So I'm trying different things pretty much every year as far as goal setting is
How
concerned.
has 2023 been so far? I mean, as far as the goals go, have you achieved what you set?
Yeah, I think it's actually pretty close, and it's incredible. We'll talk about the methodologies and the review process, of course, which is key to goal setting. But it's incredible that, um, as they say, right, if you don't know where you're sailing, you will never arrive to destination. And so, in my view, that's the only way to be and to go is to have clearly defined goals.
Yeah, absolutely. So today I want to talk about our strategies for setting goals, maybe some secrets that worked in our life and like some, cases, success stories, right? Success cases. Yeah, so I think the most obvious one is the SMART goal setting, right? Where SMART stands for
SMART stands for specific,
measurable,
actionable,
realistic, and
time
timely
bound.
or time bound. Yeah, timely. Which means that setting specific goals is key, right? And the more specific you are, the easier it is for your brain to digest the information. Because from what I know personally, this is what I cover in a few of my courses. Because I include motivational aspects to when teaching the language or teaching soft skills. Our brain actually is a little bit not as smart as we think it is. Our brain needs very, very specific commands. It's just like AI, right? Like the more specific you are with your prompt, the better results you're going to get. So the same with our brain. So when we say something like, I want to be rich. Well, yeah, good luck with that. This like means many things, and this is not clear how to go about it, right? So this goal is not smart. But if you want to say like, I want like let's transform I want to be rich into like more like a smarter goal. So you can say something like, I want to earn, I don't know, $10,000 like a month, or like
Yeah.
100,000 a year
In months one of
Yeah.
my business, and then you say, how, and then from there you start planning how exactly what the activities are. I also heard that actually a lot of people talk about not putting financial goals specifically, but putting a goal towards why you need the money, so that they become much more motivating. So usually when you set goals, in addition to being smart, you also don't want to use negative words in goal setting. So you don't want to say,
I don't want to do this, right? Or
right,
like,
exactly.
I don't want to have this.
I don't want to overeat, for example. If instead of saying my goal is to be fit and have hit my target, I don't know, body fat or weight or whatever those specific measurable outcomes are that you're trying to achieve.
I mean, with weight, I feel like if you have like a favorite piece of clothing, you can be like, oh, I want to wear this dress to this event in 2 months time, right? And this is going to be like more motivating for you,
Amazing.
yeah, than just like saying I want to lose 5 kilograms, and then you like just it's so daunting. You just keep like weighing yourself on scales, and like if especially when it's not working. So I don't. Yeah, you're right. This is yeah, but at the same time, look, the goal something the goal like I want to wear this dress for this event. It's very specific, right? And you have it's time bound too, because you have like the event is in 2 months, and then you have like the dress and you like it, so there's emotion involved. So totally, like when your goals are around emotions, that's the best, because emotions, I think, they drive us to
Yes,
success.
absolutely. The other thing that I think is important with goal setting is not overwhelming yourself. I know some folks talk about setting 50 goals or 100 goals and really have a laundry list of goals. I find that approach, I've tried it some years and I find it overwhelming. I find it that it's really hard to keep those goals top of mind at all times when there are so many of them. And I prefer something that is 10 or fewer goals for the
That's
year.
a good point. And I would suggest maybe, yeah, so like you're so right. The laundry list is not a good idea. But also what we can suggest is the wheel of life, where there are 8 categories. Um, let me see what the categories are. So you can have. I don't think it's like enough to have one goal per category, but like you can have more goals depending again, like
Yeah, maybe you have two, three per category, so you
yeah.
end up with like a dozen or so goals, right?
So when you have a wheel of life, so there are 8 categories. One is career and work. Second, finance and money. Third, health and fitness. Fourth, family and friends. Fifth, romance and love. Sixth, personal growth and learning. Seventh is fun and recreation, your hobbies technically. And the last one is physical environment. This includes your living conditions, your like house, apartment, like your outfits, what you're wearing, and things like that. The spaces where you frequently go or spend a lot of time. So you can be very strategic. You can break your year into these 8 categories, and then you can put down what goals you want to achieve within each category. So it may be one goal, it may be several goals. I remember a few years ago I used so one of the I don't remember if he was founder or co-founder or a C-level in the company. There's a Ukrainian company, Riedel.
Mhm.
And Denis Zhdanov, he put together a booklet, which was a booklet to start your year with practical activities and a lot of like many pieces of advice how to plan your goal. He's like super good in that. And there was one thing that I particularly liked. One of pieces of the advice that I particularly liked. He recommends that we name our year. We give a name to our
100%.
year, and like this is something that we discussed with you the other day when you said that this is what I wanted this year, and then
Right.
this is what I want next year, right? So you can be more specific. Like for example, you want to,
Uber theme, right? Sort of what
yeah,
is the ultimate
yeah, like
goal?
I want to focus on my personal life, and you're like, okay, this I named this year my personal life year, or I named this year
Ideally, it's even
career.
more advanced, right? So ideally, you get
Exactly.
to the heart of what exactly you're trying to achieve.
And you can give it any name. Like you can listen to like what your subconsciousness is telling you. You can pick it, like give it an like you can call it like a cheetah. It means that your year will probably be very cool fast, right? Like everything that you want to
Right.
achieve is going to come your way quickly, or you're going to be moving faster, or
Explore the
quite
world or explore
yeah.
yourself or deep reflection, right? So you can. I think actually, I'm curious, Anna, about your take on pursuing all 8 areas and pursuing
Yeah.
them at the same time, as opposed to saying, here's start. I think the right place to start actually goal setting is reflecting on your prior year and how
Absolutely.
you've accomplished your prior
You
goals.
need data.
Data, exactly, exactly.
It is
What
a
you
starting
can
point.
measure, you can control, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's really step one in goal setting is that reflection. But then you can also see based on the wheel of life which are the areas where you're weakest.
Yeah, so you have to do the week of life first. Like you have to evaluate. You know what happens with the week wheel of life, not week of life, the wheel of life. What happens? It's okay not to have a 10 out of 10. It's fine to have 6 out of 10 because it's fine for you. So like when I was doing the wheel of life the first time, I'm like, oh my god, I'm not like having the 10 of like in this category, but it doesn't mean that it was bad for me. Like I didn't realize that because it's okay for me. Like right now, for example, like for
Exactly.
you right now, it's okay to have this job, to have this career, right? And it's 6 out of 10, for example, right? Or like if like everything is 6 out of 10, it's also fine. But yeah, like you have to look where you're lacking so you can double maybe down. I don't know,
Absolutely. So
more
I think
focus.
that there are methodologies, and then you have to carefully curate them for yourself. And I think ask yourself, am I comfortable with staying at 6 or 5 or whatever that number is in that area of my life for next year? Just knowing that when everything is important, nothing is, right? So I'm really a believer in focus and knowing what is that, again, Uber theme, and what is that one area where I want it to be 10, and that's the number one thing I want to achieve. Or
I love
maybe
this.
I'm going from 2 to 6, right? Which means I need to change a lot of my habits, a lot of behaviors, invest time, resources, etc. in moving up that area specifically. So I think that's a really a personal choice. The only person that your goal should work for is you,
I love
right?
this. I love this about you, how like strategic and focused you are, like on separate tasks. I feel like sometimes I can be spreading myself too thin with many things, but yeah, you're totally right. This is so important. So, okay, so we have, so we let's summarize here a little bit. Let me summarize. So you said we first of all analyze your previous year, right? Get some data, then work with this data, creating your wheel of life. Well, we create your wheel of life, analyze data, and also to have this like the starting point, and then I think like of at least like 1 or 2 goals for each category. Maybe name your year, think what you want to achieve this year, right? Do you want to like start a business, or do you want to, I don't know, start a family? That, you know, this is something that maybe it will be difficult to do at the same time, right? Or you want to get into a perfect body shape, like, or you want to have more free time, or you want to be a traveler this year. And then after you have these goals, like bigger goals, you might need to break them down, right?
Yes, I think that's where the magic happens. And I think that's why having fewer top level goals is really key, because otherwise you just overwhelm yourself and create a lot of hard work in breaking these goals down. So I think your summary was amazing, by the way. I love
Thank
it.
you. We will turn it into a post.
Yes, for sure. And so yeah, so from those areas, what I typically do as a someone that is quantitative, I write them down in a Google sheet, and so I color code them actually by category, and so then I have the months. So then for every month, I'll have some how and some milestones on activities and specific milestones if those are longer term goals. So, for
Do you do
example,
weeks as well?
I don't do weeks, but then I do a weekly review. So I do a
Mm.
weekly review and say, hey, if that's what I need to accomplish next month, what do I need to make sure happens, this week or that week or a week after? There are some people that are so hardcore with goal setting that
I wish I
they
was one of them, but I'm not.
that they effectively go from this spreadsheet down to the months, down to the week, and then turn it all into calendar. So then their calendar is all perfectly color coded according to
This is
achieving those
great
goals.
though. This will, like, if you have hard time acquiring new habits, and like achieving goals is kind of like, you know, acquiring a habit. Because if you like set something, like for example you want to lose weight, you have to get into a habit of going to the gym every
Right.
day, or like 3 times a week, or whatever it is for you, or fixing your diet or something like that, right? So if you have a problem acquiring new habits, putting everything on a calendar is key. It's like
$100.
it's a game changer. And I technically think that 3 weeks, it takes 3 weeks of continuous
Yeah,
repetition.
that's so they say.
And yeah, and then you become perfect with that. Yeah, so I feel like that when you break down into months, then the weeks, like your brain already has enough information, just like, circling back to what I said earlier, that our brain is not as smart as we think, because, well, you have to give it a kick, yeah, right? And then your brain already has this information, and your brain starts generating, necessary actions, or even like inviting
Right.
certain, like I don't know, information, people, situations into
Right.
your life. Yeah, so
The
this is
universe needs to know what exactly you want, and you have to continuously prove it and show it,
that's
I
why
think.
that's why we say, like, we start attracting things, but it's not magic, right? We attract things that we want, but we have to understand what we want. That's why we need to write those goals, right? We understand what we want, we start attracting, like, we think about, like, we give our energy into this. And is it like some Tony Robbins
Tony Robbins
thing?
stuff. Listen, I think whether you believe it or not, I think
It's true.
it's true. I think that there is so much serendipity. There are so many things that happen for some unknown reasons, and they happen for all of us. And I think one great example just was really for me this year, when I one of the goals I had was really elevating my network and going to some really interesting, unique events where I can connect with other founders and really just have my head explode from all the greatness and all the ideas. And I would say that in no other year I've been able to meet so many amazing founders. And
Wow, it works.
it worked exactly. And all of a sudden, these invites started landing in my inbox. Maybe they were coming before as well, but I wasn't paying attention, right? And it's so, I think it's really, is it magic? Perhaps not, right? But I declared it as my goal. And so something I started seeking and I started to pay attention to. And we notice it all the time, right? Like if you know that, let's say, you want this new haircut, and then all of a sudden you walk around and you see everyone with that haircut. And well, guess what, last week they were also perhaps with that haircut, you just
You
didn't
just didn't
notice.
notice, yeah.
And there was actually a really cool experiment I've seen. So I'll try to find that video on YouTube somewhere. But it's a group of people dancing around an elevator, and the ask to an audience is to see how many people, count the number of different people that are dancing in that video. And so, and then after the video finishes, most people, can guess roughly the number of people, more or less closely. But what very few people notice is that there was a gorilla on that same
elephant,
video. Elephant
they
in the
didn't see
room,
elephant in the
exactly.
room.
And this is a perfect
Yeah,
example of how we have these gorillas or elephants, or name
yeah.
your favorite, but we just don't notice them unless we are on task to
Honest as
see them.
notice, yeah.
Right, exactly.
So that's why I said that your brain needs tasks. So technically, when you write these goals, this is not for you. This is for your brain, because your brain otherwise is going to be just living chaotic kind of like lifestyle. I don't know. But a lot of people, like, why do you think a lot of people have no, like, they have no purpose in life, right? Because they have no goals in life. Um, there was one other thing that I wanted to share, actually,
Yeah.
which is not like goal setting, but this is something that I did a couple of years. Like, every year. I
Is it
didn't
your
do-
favorite hack?
It's not my favorite. I mean, yes, but for some reason, I don't know why, I didn't do it last year, and I regret it. But it's not like you have to do it like at the year start, or
Right.
like at the year end. You can do it anyway. But anyway, I feel like I might have forgotten about one of my favorite hacks. So it's called 100 wishes, 100 wish list, or 100 wishes. So what you do, you take a piece of paper. You have to do it actually manually. Yeah, like some people want to do it on iPad or like a phone, or don't do it like that, because you really need your body involved. That's like important, right? So you take a piece of paper or your notebook where you write notes. And you start writing 100 wishes, things that you want to have, do, be. And like, you can write, so like some people write this list as if they already have it, but you can do it like an imperative, like I want to, instead of like I already have, or
Right.
I already am. So it's up to you. It doesn't really matter. But you know what? You'll be surprised, because it depends on the person. But usually, I did it with my network. I mean, with my community, and people usually say, Anna, I wrote down 15, 1 5, 15. I don't know. Like I don't know what else. Or 20, or like 25 tops, and then you just stuck. And it might take you 2 hours to write down 100 wishes, because then you just kind of like run out of like, I don't
Ideas. What else
ideas
am I
like what,
wishing?
yeah, like of course you're gonna write down new car, like new blah blah blah. And by the way, you don't restrict yourself to your situation. If you know that you can't buy a car, it doesn't mean you can't desire it. So you are allowed to write anything without thinking how. So this is a key. When you're writing this list, you don't have the question how or why or what next. You just say what you want. Just, and that's the hardest task for people, because what I realized, and I had this too when I was writing the list, I'm like, how big can I dream? Like,
Mm.
how it's like,
Oh, I know I
like,
can't afford it. Can I
yeah,
still
like
write it?
I'm
Yeah.
like, or like, I'm dating this guy, like, but like he can, like, like, you will realize that maybe you don't want to date the guy, or things like that, and like things like how big you can dream, how big you can imagine yourself, like how, like what you want to do. And just like there's like so much psychological work here, like therapeutical work that you're
Mhm.
doing to yourself, because you actually allowing yourself
To
to get
dream.
to the
Right.
next level of dreaming. But that's what, like, this is how it starts, right? It
Right.
starts with a dream, it starts with an intention, and then you do the goals, right? So
That's a great
I highly,
step to take before going
yes,
into your goals, right?
yeah,
Because that can help you really think bigger, and
yeah,
maybe before you get into goals, which can be perhaps overall too incremental. And that was actually the other thing that I really think is important, is that we underestimate how much we can accomplish in a year. We are trying to cram everything in a week, and usually
you
the
need a
week
year.
is gone and we still have a long list of things to do. And I think and I'm seeing more and more folks now talking about top three or big rocks or things, how they start the day, and that's all related to actually accomplishing what you set out to do. But I think that overall, right, as you form those new habits, it's important that you think incrementally. So you better not say, in 1 month I'm going to lose, I don't know, 50 pounds. That's going to be pretty bad. But you can
Yeah,
lose 50 pounds in 6 months, in a year, or
yeah,
some, whatever the
just don't be
healthy.
hard on yourself, right? Be realistic also, like,
Yes, exactly.
realistic, not only about like, losing weight, or just like having enough time for something, or willpower too. Some goals will require us to have really strong willpower, and some people just are not as good with
Right.
this.
Have you read the book Atomic Habits?
Oh my God, this is my favorite. I
Favorite,
actually got
mine too.
inspired, and I developed my courses based on, I used methodology and developed my courses based on this book,
Right.
so that when you learn a language, you don't learn it because like while you taking the course, but in the course we incorporated the system of like atomic habits, so
To
like
form
to
new
form new habits, new
connections.
connections, and like, yeah. So definitely that's
That's a key one, right? So if you guys haven't read that book, or some other methodologies that you like about changing habits, because there is no magic to achieving the goals beyond
you.
us, beyond you, right? And you actually becoming the person you need to be. And I think what I love about what you were talking about, sort of dreaming bigger and wishing
Yeah,
before setting goals, the same question is, who do you need to be? What is the identity of that
persona.
person
Yeah, what's your persona?
achieving those goals, right? And
I
so
love
if
this.
you think of, I find it really motivating if I'm saying, hey, I am athletic, and that's the person that your vision for you at the end of the day and in the end of the year. And I think my favorite hack is actually something I picked up and reminded myself about in Jen Gottlieb's book Be Seen. Jen talks about writing a letter to yourself a year from
Mm-hmm.
now, and that's really cool because you it's less structured and it's fun and it's like a ritual. You can open that letter, and of course, you forget what you wrote a year ago. And she talks about this funny story how she was seated with her then boyfriend, actually, and she wrote, Jenny, the man that's sitting next to you is going to be your husband. That's a fun story. But, whatever your goals are,
She
um,
already knew what she wanted,
right,
and she was manifesting
exactly.
it through the letter. Yeah,
Are
too.
you doing vision boards? Is that a technique you use too?
I have done it in the past. Yeah, I feel like this is very. I believe this like creating a vision board is very meditative and very also therapeutical activity. And the more time you can invest into doing things like this, like vision boards or writing 100 wish lists, or I don't know, setting up goals. This is the best because I feel like what we lack now in our fast-paced world is the time that we can actually just sit down with ourselves,
Right.
right? And like it is because like every time you create a vision board or write a goal, you're technically giving yourself love,
Right.
right? Because you're giving yourself time, and time is the most precious thing that we have. Not like maybe like buying new something. You just give yourself some time and realize what you really want. What about you? Do you have a vision board?
I go on and off. So I actually think that it's for all of you guys who are parents. I think vision boards are the best introduction for kids to goal setting. And so that's something I've done with my daughter probably since she was 8 or so.
Wow. Good
And so,
mom.
and so we, just I think drawing and just being more graphical. So I haven't really collected a lot of people cut out pictures and sort of there are different ways to do it, right? Some cut out from magazines for different things to visualize them. I with her, because to keep it simple, we were just drawing things, but that's something we do every year. And so typically when I have those goals that I write down for myself in a more comprehensive Excel type table, then I would sit down with her and talk about visualizing the year together. It's something we do usually on a winter break at school, and it's a great bonding opportunity. I think it teaches your kids about goal setting. I think my parents are the most supportive and amazing, but they've never taught me about goal setting. And I think that's one of those areas that the younger you are exposed to it, the more it becomes your nature, right? And so what's our nature is just happening automatically. And in fact, she was just sending me a message before this live when she talked about how certain things she's doing at school are really aligned to her goals, and that's why she is so committed to making them happen. So
Yeah, definitely. So you taught her the importance of goal setting. So now she's very structured. This is great. A lot of time flies. I
yeah.
thought we were gonna have a shorter stream, but
Not
definitely
happening. When we
not
are together on a
happening.
Friday wind down, there is
Even
no
there's
short
no
conversation.
wine, but still. Anyway, this is amazing. I feel like we should follow up in
Share
share
resources.
resources and share it in a separate post. Some highlights of today's talk in case somebody who couldn't join or they won't be able to watch it. So let's summarize it next week. In the meantime, everyone have a great weekend.
Great weekend. And if you have your best practices or have some follow up questions or want to challenge us on some of the methodologies and approaches, send us a note and we love hearing back from you.
Yay! Bye for
Bye.
now. Till next Friday.
Yay.